And Vado was the only one from that situation that I remember that actually got a deal with Interscope. So I don't sign nobody until I have distribution for them. Like, you'll hear JR and Hell Rell tell you, Viewers never signed to Cam. They're right, they was never signed to me. That's why it be bugging me out when be like, yo, Cam jerk and Cam ain't do it. They wasn't never signed to me to beat to jerk. Nobody. Only person that was ever signed to me really is Juelz.
You can't finesse millions from people who were never actually signed to you. For years, the story has been that Cameron was running business games with Dipset, that he was moving money behind the scenes, controlling contracts, publishing, and royalties. But Cam just shut that whole narrative down with one simple fact. Most of the Dipset members were never signed to him in the first place. He says he doesn't even sign artists without a distribution deal first. No record deal, no paperwork, no executive control, no ownership leverage. That flips everything. Because if there's no contract, there's no back-end percentage, no hidden royalties, no label profit to finesse. Cam is basically saying, how can I take millions from you if you never signed to me? How can I rip you off if there was no agreement? And when he breaks down who actually had a deal and who didn't, it completely upends the Dipset business story. Now, I'm about to play this clip for y'all, but before I do, drop your thoughts in the comments, hit subscribe, and let's get into it.
If you're an artist, you didn't look at Kanye as a rapper. You looked at him like who made beats. There wasn't a lot of producers that could rap and be successful at it that I could think of off the top of my head. Of course, Jermaine Dupri, but I don't really consider him like a rapper, even though he could spit some bars. Shout out to JD. Puff too, people would write for him. Kanye was like writing his own. And I remember we was in the studio and it was me and Jay-Z in there and he was just rapping his heart out. And I was like, kind of saying some shit, you know what I'm saying? I was looking at him, but I'm still looking at him as a producer. Jay was just in a two-way pager like this. This going hard, Kanye just going crazy. Jay wouldn't even look up, just like this in his pager. And I ain't gonna sit and act like I discovered the name because I was just like, am I bugging or is this saying some shit? But it was kind of off because you gotta realize what Kanye did successfully, he had like a backpacker style and still could rap with niggas talking about money, drugs, or whatever. Kanye could do a song with Jay-Z and then go to SOBs and do a song with Mos Def. You know what I'm saying? He kind of connected and gapped that bridge of the backpackers mixed with if you want to call it gangster hustler, whatever kind of vibe you want to call it, to where he could do both and not be frowned upon for doing it. But as far as him producer for me, he would just give me beats, I would pick him out. But I've been in the studio with him a few times when he was rapping, and he definitely had some shit, but we kind of looked over it. Well, I kind of looked over it.
Are you surprised to what he became?
Nah, I'm not surprised. You gotta realize that if you put your mind to it and your hustle to it and set a goal out and a plan out for yourself, you can do it. Cause like I said, he was rapping. Excuse me, he was really rapping, not just rapping, he was pretty good. I just was looking at him as a producer.
You started a label called the UN. It's a two-part question. How many artists did you have signed to that label?
I don't remember. I know Vado was there. I didn't really have, see, the thing about it with me is I don't have artists signed to me until I go get distribution to get a deal. So I remember I had Bird Lady. She was working with me, and I had Vado. And Vado was the only one from that situation that I remember that actually got a deal with Interscope. So I don't sign nobody until I have distribution for them. Like, you'll hear JR and Hell Rell tell you, Viewers never signed to Cam. They're right, they was never signed to me. That's why it be bugging me out when be like, yo, Cam jerk and Cam ain't do it. They wasn't never signed to me to beat to jerk. Nobody. Only person that was ever signed to me really is Juelz. Outside of that, he's like, yo, Cam ain't do this or Cam ain't do that. How the f I got over on you, you never was signed to me, period. So, Unless I got distribution with you, I don't even want to do a deal with you because I don't want to hold your life up if you could go get another deal. But as far as the U1 was concerned, Vito's the only one that I did a major deal with.
And the distribution was what?
In the scope.
Paperwork decides who actually gets paid. This whole situation is a straight-up reminder that the music industry moves on contracts, not feelings. A lot of fans assume someone can just finesse millions because they're the boss of the crew, but that's not how record labels work. That's not how publishing works. That's not how distribution deals work. If there's no signature, there's no percentage. Cam is keeping it simple. If Jim Jones and the other Dipset members were never signed to him, there's no way he could control their masters or royalties. You can't skim off a deal that doesn't exist. You can't collect executive money without executive paperwork. That's business law, not opinion. Without a signable agreement, a label exec has no legal claim to an artist's royalties or master ownership. That's not street talk, that's contract law. So when Cam says most of them were never signed to him, it flips the entire conversation. Now, I'm not here to take sides. Dipset is legendary. Cam built a wave. Jim Jones built a brand. Juelz Santana had star power. Everybody played a role in the crew. But what this really shows is how dangerous assumptions are in hip-hop. Fans hear leader and think ownership. They hear CEO and think control. But titles mean nothing without distribution and paperwork. If anything, this is bigger than Cameron. It's about independent artists understanding structure. Not signed, you're free. Free, your money is yours. But that also means you carry your own risk. Cam's strategy shows he didn't want to hold people up without distribution first. That tells me he understood leverage, timing, and that a bad deal is worse than no deal at all. At the same time, I get why people might have been confused back then. Crews move as a unit. Loyalty runs deep. Business conversations aren't always clear until years later. That doesn't automatically mean someone got finessed. Sometimes it just means the structure was loose. So here's the question for y'all. If Jim Jones and the other Dipset members were never officially signed to Cam, do you still think he could have finessed millions, or does that flip your whole perspective? And if you were in Cam's shoes building Dipset, would you have signed Jim Jones and the others early or let them stay free like he did? Drop your thoughts in the comments, make sure you like and subscribe, and peace.